You've garnered a fair amount of criticism over your tenure here. People have had a lot to say about your work and maybe the rate at which you find people have contravened the Act and the Code. Do you think that that criticism was fair? Do you think that you've been treated unfairly at all?
Well, I don't think it was well-founded, that criticism. I mean, I think I'm not going to find everybody to have contravened that's brought to my attention. I'm going to find the ones that I think have contravened, and I do have a piece of legislation that I have to interpret. And I'm the administrator. Somebody else is the one that makes the rules. So I would say that criticism is largely unwarranted. Yeah. You know, there are activists and there are not activists, and there are some activists that want to push further, but I'm following the law.
Was it frustrating to sort of be held personally to blame for some of the decisions?
Do you know what? I feel that I make the proper decisions, and I feel confident in myself that I've done a good job. So if there's criticism out there, there's been some praise as well, I think, occasionally. So I just press on and do what I think is right.
And you've said that sometimes you felt that your hands were a little tied by what was and wasn't actually in the legislation.
Oh yes, I mean I can't make up the law. It's not fair. I have to apply what's there. There is a little bit of room for discretion in some cases, and I've used that discretion in some cases. For example, the word improper, if that's in there, I've got a little bit of room. But in many cases in the legislation, I don't have that much room. It's just a question of fact. Yeah. So
then what kind of advice will you be giving your successor and how he can navigate that?
Well, I guess I do what he thinks is right the way I have. I mean, you can't make up stuff that's not there. And so he'll just have to do the best he can.
And do you think he should be active in trying to push for some of the changes that you've recommended?
Well, sure. I'd like to see all those changes made. You know, or most of them considered. Some of them I've suggested for consideration. For example, there's a couple I suggested, like that there be a political code, a political behavior code. I don't even think that belongs in this office. It would belong somewhere else probably. But you know, there's many complaints that are made that are in that line, and I think it'd be a good idea to do some work on that. Also personal behavior, you know, which again would be a separate, but that really belongs in the House or somewhere else probably too. But I think, you know, until and unless there's amendments made to the Act is what it is, and the Code.